All right, any given Sunday sports special. It's your boy Jesus. I got my man Anthony with me. We're hoping Steve joins us a little later in the show. But Anthony, my man, how you doing, fam?
You know, it's been a tough week, but I mean, you gotta love it. I mean, name of the league. Any given Sunday, anything happens. Me and Pops had a very interesting game. Both our quarterbacks went down. And, you know, it's a tough week overall, but I mean, I'm excited about this week. Let's get into it.
It's so true what you're saying, because if there was ever a week for that name that we call this any given Sunday to be it, this was the week. It was absolutely just a crazy up and down, topsy-turvy. It was just everywhere. So, yeah, I mean, with that said, let's, no further ado, let's just get right into it. We're going to get into the game that it went like we all predicted it would. We called this upset from jump, and it's exactly what happened, where Dr. Evil beat Slap Sauce 91-73. What do you have to say about this game?
Well, I mean, it quite simply comes down to this. I mean, Deshaun Watson's been on fire. You can't deny that. He's basically been one of the top 3 basically rated quarterbacks in all of fantasy so far since he took the starting job. He does a great job and gets himself 29, but you get an excellent game from Kirk Cousins at 31, so it kind of balances itself out. Just for Dr. Evil side, like we said, he puts the right things in there. He has the right matchups. We expected more from Hilton, but it didn't work out. But he got enough from Gurley. He got a great game from Evan Ingram and from Doug Martin. On the opposite side, I mean, Zach Ertz has been showing up, but it's when we have your buys and everything else like that. Emmanuel Sanders gives you 7, but he goes out with an injury. He probably would have got you more. But then you have Tyrell Williams in there. He pretty much just gives you absolutely nothing. You didn't really have much else at a choice of wide receiver. Just the matchups didn't work out in play. I understand him not starting Adrian Peterson. I think in the future he's going to kind of revise that if this is the Adrian Peterson that we're going to see from this week forward.
Yep.
But you can't really fault the guy. This Dr. Evil had all his quality people available, all the targets, everything was on point. You can't really get mad about just you take the win. You take the win any way you put it. I think on the opposite side, Slap Sauce, even though he got upset, it's still a very tough team. Like I said, you might have a little issue at wide receiver, but you have Des Bryant back soon enough. But it's still maybe some moves that need to be made there. But, we talked about the 2 tight end thing. It didn't really work out this week and getting nothing from really the killer. But it was a great job by Slap Sauce, but Dr. Evil just did a better one. But your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty simple. I mean, Dr. Evil, I call this. The thing about Dr. Evil is they're a good team. Their problem is they don't have the consistency. You never know which week Alshon Jeffrey's going to show up. T.Y. Hilton, until Luck gets back, is going to be, up and down as well. I think Evan Ingram, this is what you're going to see. This is the Evan Ingram. I think he's going to be a top 3 tight end for the rest of the season, so I'm okay with that one. Hogan got hurt in that game, so I really can't judge him much. But it's going to be up and down because his quarterback position, one week it may be good, one week it may be bad. You don't have that consistency there. But on the other side, you're going to notice this be a theme this week. And this is GMs just aren't working the phones like they should. And now I'm going to call Slap Sauce out. He's trying to make trades, supposedly. He's making contacts, but he's asking for ridiculous things from what I'm hearing. Now, again, I can't say that for myself specifically because whenever him and I've talked, it's never really gotten that out of hand. But from what I'm hearing, he's asking for crazy trades. And he needs a running back. I mean, period, point blank. Yeah, you could count on Frank Gore to be your number 1 running back. But, I mean, can you really? We really don't know. Plus, on top of that, he lost Sanders. From what I'm hearing, Sanders is going to be out. Terrence Williams, we know he's what he is. Des Bryant, okay, fine, he'll have him back. But who's going to be that other guy? Who's going to be that other receiver? And he has 3 quarterbacks. Move one, get a receiver, and keep it moving. I don't understand why these GMs can't find that happy medium and can't find that deal. It just drives me nuts. But we'll go ahead, we'll move on. We're going to go to the next game here, which is going to be a very interesting game, which was the Florida Thirst Traps lose by 1 point. 1 point. To Welcome to Dumpsville, Dom's team. What you got for me on this one, Ant?
I feel for Gabe. Look, I'd rather lose by a whole bunch than lose by a point because the point to the killer, and it came down to Monday night game.
Yep.
DeMarco Murphy needed that 1 more yard, and he got it, and that's what pretty much put him over the top. I mean, Brissett had an okay game. I mean, Cam outscored him. Carlos Hyde put up 2 touchdowns. Jordan Howard, I think he had 36 carries for 136 yards, something crazy like that.
Yeah,
the job is done. Job is done. I mean, you can't complain about it. I mean, and for Dumpsville, I mean, I mean, look at it. I mean, if you look at the roster, no one scored over 20. No one. I mean, the highest guy was Larry Fitzgerald with 17, but Hyde had 18. Howard had 16. It's just that he had a few more guys in double figures than anything else. Even the kickers balance themselves out for once in a while. I don't think the thirst trap should hold their head down. We all have weeks like this. There have been times in AGS history where there's been a time it's come down to bench points, and the bench points has been 1 or 2 points. So I wouldn't get stressed out about it. He still has a very talented team. On the opposite side, like I said, you put your team out there, you let them perform. Dom did a good job. You can't really complain about it. He got himself a win, so that's an excellent job by him. But for the thirst traps, just hold your head up. Don't press yourself too much about this. I think they're still the team that's going to be in contention and running. They've done some smart moves. They're going to try to do their best to survive at wide receiver. Like I said, trade time's coming. There's some moves that need to be made by most teams in contention. But for this week, you got to tip your hat to Dom. I mean, you might not like him, but you got to tip your hat to him. But
I mean, I can't say that I don't like the guy. I just don't think he's very good at fantasy football. I mean, it has nothing to do with me not liking him. I think he's actually a very nice person. Outside of football and fantasy football, he's very, very nice and very educated young man himself. But he's just not good at fantasy football. And I'm just looking at this here, and if I'm just being honest, look, Alvin Kamara got him 8 points, very, very solid. Jordan Reed got him 3. Devin Funchess got him 3. His quarterback only got him 15. Jacoby Brissett, he threw out there and thought that was okay. He threw out Jacoby Brissett out there and thought that was okay. You look at the bench. At what point in time is he going to say Derrick Henry's the better running back? Just somebody tell me that. Again, DeMarco Murray didn't play bad, but I think everybody would agree Derrick Henry's been the better running back this year. It's not even close, in my opinion. On the other side, look, the thirst traps, they're trying. They're trying to make moves. They have sent multiple messages out to the league to try to get a deal done. They've offered running backs. They've offered quarterbacks. They've offered quarterbacks and running backs. And they just can't find that. They can't find that deal. And props to Gabe in this sense, where Gabe could easily go ahead and get desperate and trade a running back and a quarterback and get back a trash receiver like a Devin Funchess or something. But Gabe is saying, no, if I have to roll these same guys out every single week, I'll go ahead, I'll do it. I'll count on my running backs to be able to carry the load. And the fact is he's 3-3, so he doesn't necessarily need to panic. But I do think he needs to make a move. But you don't want to get ripped off in a deal, and I think that's why he's holding out. He doesn't want to get ripped off in a deal. So props to him. But he lost the game. There's no other way to put it. He lost the game, which makes this next one big. Which, like, is kind of what you said. Losing these close games are the most frustrating ones. If you're going to lose, get blown out so you don't deal with the stress and you just, you can move on. It's these close ones that you're all the way. I mean, he texted me very late last night, and his words were, by 1 point, wow. And he was just, it's one of those heartbreakers, man. It really is. But, that is what it is. There's really nothing he can do about that. You move on and you get ready for the next week. I hope he can finally make a trade, Anthony, whether it's you, whether it's with you, whether it's with Steve, whoever it is. He needs to make a deal. And there's other teams out there that need to make deals as well. So let's just see if stuff starts happening. Next one up, we're going to go ahead and we're going to go to your game, Anthony, which is, I'll name this team later, 55 points. You lose to Telegram, 63. What do you got for me on this one?
I'll make it quick. It was an ugly game overall. 3 people broke. 3 people broke it. That's good. Hunt did not have a great game. The Texas defense showed up. I mean, his kicker got 11, but my kicker got 21. Basically, the thing that happened after that is that even though he lost Rodgers and Rodgers only got 0, my quarterback ended up getting hurt. He only got 2. The running back situation is something that we have to address. I expected a bigger game from DeAndre Hopkins, and that didn't come to fruition. Like I said, the Mike Gillislee thing, you're right. I need to stop. I was forced to put Corral in there because of a late injury, but he performed a little bit. I mean, it's still not giving me any faith or hope. Like I said, I know there's definitely some moves to be made for Telegram. Like I said, with your defense giving you 22, the kicker giving you 11. I mean, it's not really asking much. I mean, you got really nothing from the bench. Ugly game overall. I mean, nothing really happened and nothing really appeared. He had a lot of guys on bye. I thought it worked in my favor, but injuries and other concerns did not work out in my favor. I had to give him props. A win's a win, no matter how you get it. Ugly, cute, sassy, however you want to describe it.
Yep.
Win's a win. So
absolutely.
I'm going to give.
You got to give props. You got,
props.
I guess give props to Pops. I'm gonna actually give it to him just because, again, when you lose Rodgers, that probably is less like 25 points, so that puts him in the 90 range, almost 88 points around there. So you know what? I'm not gonna get ahead. I'm not gonna knock on Pops too much because it was tough. But I will say this: minus the Aaron Rodgers injury, at some point in time, Kareem Hunt. I don't know when is this gonna start being talked about. He's come back down to earth the last couple weeks. He hasn't been the Kareem Hunt people are used to seeing. And that's very, very important to notice. Plus, on top of that, Pops' receivers are absolute trash right now. I mean, they're just not good. They're not good. So he's another one that I don't know. Pops, listen to me. You're not going to be able to win on a trade. This league has gotten so much smarter, so much better. It's very difficult to win on trades. So, take the L. Move one or two guys and get yourself one really good receiver. I personally like Baldwin, but I don't like Baldwin if he's your number one receiver, and that's the problem right now. On the other side, Anthony, I'm gonna get ahead. I'm gonna tell you the same thing that I'm telling everybody else. You're doing a piss poor job right now as a GM. You haven't made the necessary moves to improve your team. Now, granted, maybe that move isn't out there for you. If that's the case, then you know what? You're not gonna make a move just for the sake of making one, right? Completely understand that. But with that being said, for you to sit here and tell me that you're not able to move, say for example, a Decker or a Watkins and a Parker or a Parker and I don't know, Crowell, and get back one really good receiver and even a quarterback or something, that just doesn't make sense to me. There has to be a deal out there. There absolutely has to be a deal out there because this is unacceptable the way your team is performing. You had one guy in double digits. Heck, you had one guy score over 7 points. One. And that was your kicker.
One.
So
yeah,
bro. Yeah, bro. We hopefully it was just a bad one, which by me, firing you up, you'll probably drop 150 on me this upcoming week. But for real, real. But you know what I'm saying, bro? Just you gotta make a move, man. You have to. Don't stand pat. You got the team on the top, Slap Sauce, who they're kind of reeling right now after that loss. This is your opportunity. You got to take advantage.
Did you catch the breaking news?
What's the breaking news, my friend?
That they went to court and they got Zeke Elliott another reprieve, and he'll be available this Sunday.
Yep, I saw that. Yeah, that was reported that they gave him another whatever that thing is called, but yeah, a restraining order again. So hey, listen, props to him, but that's just gonna be. I don't think he's performing well this year, anyways. I don't think you've seen the Zeke from last year. So even with Zeke, do I really think Pops is gonna definitely blow up? No, I don't, because Zeke's mind doesn't appear to be on football right now. So we'll see.
No, I mean, I don't believe that, but I think more than anything else, if you have the ability to have a guy like that, the only thing you really have to think about and come to mind is that if I have Elliott and I have McCoy and I have Hunt, but I have other guys like, I mean, it's nice to pick up Matt Breida to keep him away from everybody else, but I mean, is he really going to be any use to you? I mean, it seemed like a good idea, especially like they're saying things about Carlos Hyde, but in reality, I mean, Carlos Hyde's the one that got in the end zone twice. Matt Breida didn't do anything.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, you just look at it. Pops is what's McCoy really at this point in time? What is he really? He's not the guy that we're used to seeing. And to say that, what has Hunt been recently? Defenses are lining up to stop Hunt.
It's been. I like the guy. Just here's the numbers: 39, 22, 24, 12, 10, 10. It's slowly going more and more downhill. I mean, he's a big part of that offense, but you got to really want. I mean, you're not worried about the rookie role right now. It's a little bit too early, but yep. I mean, they're giving this guy a lot of carries really early on, and you got to really wonder, like, is he really going to hold up after all this?
Yeah, you have to at some point in time to take that into consideration. All right, let's get to the next one. We got Tampa's Empire, who had dropped 98 points, and McPoon handling Go Engines, who dropped 71. What you got for me on this one?
It's a quarterback roller coaster. I mean, you have guys, and you just don't know how you're really going to work with. I mean, you put Derek Carr in there, obviously, because Andy Dalton's going to buy. But you're thinking like, well, they're the Chargers. We're going to have them back. But there's something broken about that offense, and I cannot put my finger on it. I mean, there's a lot of things. I mean, the offensive line is still good, but I mean, you get a guy like Marshawn Lynch, and you're not getting him involved in the game, which you think that you were going to. You get him because you want him to wear down the defense. You want him to get 20 to 25 carries, but he doesn't get it. I didn't know we're going to get in this Julio Jones thing, but it's like but it's something I explain to a lot of people. I literally, as a football player, and I think he's talented, and I think he's one of the top 3 or 4 wide receivers in the game. But again, he's not Antonio Brown, and I get in this argument all the time. I said guys like Mike Evans and Julio and Odell, like they're freaks of nature. They're guys with that size and that speed and quickness, so on and so forth. And you get amazed by it. You see a little guy like Antonio, like oh he's great and so on and so forth. But in reality, his ceiling is higher than that. If you're a Julio Jim, no matter what you do, this is his stat line all season: 6, 10, 9, 3, 7. He hasn't scored a touchdown all season. This doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me.
It happens every year.
And you're building your team. You're building a team around him. You're building a team around Freeman. Like I think Freeman had 7 this week, and I think Tevin Coleman had 8. I mean, you hate to see like it's a timeshare, but in reality, it is. And there's some things you want to fill out in the roster. I mean, Will Fuller's showing up. Apparently Deshaun Watson loves the guy, but that's for them. And I mean, 71, you expect more from Carr. Maybe it's more balanced. On the opposite side, even I believe the injury will be fine. Leonard Fournette's a man. He's doing great. Mike Evans got the late touchdown. Him and Cameron Brate were big weapons on that offense. Jay Ajayi finally showed up. Simeon, I didn't expect really much from, but he did enough to put him over the top. And I mean, like I said, that's a really good team that he has. I worry about Jordy now because of the Rodgers injury with the guy they got coming in. But I think all in all, I think what they did was fine. Now he gets a perfectly good score. The defense didn't do what a defense usually does for him. But you can't fault a guy when his team is 5-1. They're getting the job done. They're on the winning streak, which I said that they would eventually do. Now, will this carry over? I don't know, but you have to give props to the Empire for what they're doing, how they're running their team, how they're getting things together. Great job. Right now, they're probably the best team in the league. You have to tip your hat to them. I can't really say much else, but what do you feel?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I mean, I think saying they're the best team in the league because we're looking at record, that's kind of the easy way out, right? But if we're really looking at it, I don't think they're the best team in the league. I think Leonard Fournette is probably one of the best running backs in the league. I don't think Jordy Nelson's going to be one of the best receivers in the league now that Rodgers is out. I think Mike Evans has been up and down this year. I mean, yeah, he had 15 points, but if you look at the stat line, he had 3 catches. 3. You know, Cameron Brate, 6 catches, 76 yards, a touchdown. That's phenomenal. That's awesome. Is he going to do that every single week? You hope so. Can't really rely on it. Jay Ajayi's been up and down this year. Steve doesn't have a quarterback right now. If you heard Andrew Luck, when they asked him when is he coming back, his exact words were there's no timetable to return. So I can't say he's the best team in the league. If I'm saying record-wise, sure, yeah, of course. Then yes, he's the best team in the league. But I don't think he's the best team in the league. With that being said, I think he's top 3 in the league. I think he definitely is a top 3 team in the league. But I think that he's gonna have to figure some things out. But he's gonna be right in the running for the chip. On the other side, for Rich, I can't say to panic. I think that you have a very solid overall roster. Freeman will have better days. Julio, I get so mad about him. I always tend to go off. I think I finally found the best way to describe Julio Jones. Julio Jones is a great NFL wide receiver, but an average fantasy football wide receiver. That's really the best way to put it. There's really no other way to put it other than he is a great NFL wide receiver, but an average fantasy football wide receiver. And when people start realizing that, I think it'll start coming back down to earth. This whole him not getting touchdowns thing, it's nothing new. Take a look at the history.
No, it's not.
He doesn't score a lot of touchdowns on a yearly basis. So this is expected of him. So I'm not really too worried about Rich. I think Rich will find a way. He'll scrap for the wins here and there. He'll be okay. Let's get to the last game of the week. It was the Dream Killers dropping 98. Came up short to the New York Powers, 151 points. Anthony, my man, what you got?
You know what's funny? You're the only team that scored over 100 this entire week.
Yep.
Team. And not only did you score 100, you scored 150. And everyone that, like, this, when you think about this team, what they envisioned. Literally. You wanted a game where literally all your stars showed up. And let's give it a quick rundown. Tom, 20. Melvin, 26. Antonio, 21. Kelvin Benjamin, 9. Gronk, 20. Ty Montgomery, you thought, but that might be a good move. I think they might become more run-oriented. And if he's healthy enough, I think he'll definitely get the job done. You got 22 from the defense, 24 from Mark Ingram. If you have a week like that when you have 6 parts of your lineup in the 20s, you can get negative from everything else. You're going to win no matter how you put it. Even look at your bench. Thomas, 11. Brown, 11. There was no way you were going to lose this game. On the opposite side, I mean, the pieces at the top, Carson Palmer had a terrific game. Le'Veon Bell, it seemed like he's back in gear again. Golden Tate, I mean, he had a good game, but also he's on. They're questioning if he's going to be in this week. And Jarvis Landry, I mean, without the competition of wide receiver for the ball to go to him, he went out there and did a job. But from the rest of your team, is what, 3, 4, 6, 8 from 4 spots. You got enough from your kicker, but I mean, all in all, the guys that needed to score scored. But when you run into a team like the Powers, those guys are turning on and everyone stepping on the gas like that, they really don't look beatable. For you, Mr. Rodriguez, I have to tip my hat. You put the pieces together, you put the lineups together. I don't think Ty Montgomery was actually a mistake. I think that, like I said, the better that rib injury gets, the more they're going to probably try to lean on him a bit more, because they want to protect Hundley unless they're going to go out and get somebody else, which is highly unlikely for them. Mm-hmm. But for the Powers, it's an outstanding job. You got to tip your hat to you guys. Great job, man.
Yeah, man. I mean, look. At the end of the day, this is where the you could say the floor and the ceiling of a team. This is the ceiling. This is what, when everything is clicking, when everything goes right for the New York Powers. This is what they do. This is how they play. Right, this is why we, year in and year out, when you look at their roster, we tend to say, they're the top 2 team, they may be the best team in the league. It's because this is the potential in them. You can't go out and say, well, you know what, they had a lucky week, because this isn't luck. Tom Brady's supposed to put up 20 plus points. Well, Melvin Gordon maybe not supposed to put up 26, but Melvin Gordon's supposed to put up 15 plus. Antonio Brown's supposed to put up 15 plus. Rob Gronkowski's supposed to put up 15 plus. The Mark Ingram trade, it worked out for me, but let's not get it twisted. It also worked out for Gabe too, because Jerick McKinnon balled out. And then on top of that, his kicker outperformed my kicker, so it kind of worked out for both sides there. Montgomery didn't show up, but this is what I come to expect. Not maybe 151 points is probably pushing it on a weekly basis, but I do expect for my guys to show up on a weekly basis. And that's what happened here on the other side. Lewis, man, listen, you my mans, bro, but it was one of those weeks. It was just one of those weeks. It's nothing to beat yourself up about. You actually deserve to get a win this week. I think if you played anybody else but Steve, I think you do get a win this week, if I'm not mistaken, which is the worst part about it all, to have to deal with that. But keep your head up, keep fighting, keep pushing. You're not officially eliminated yet. So next, we're gonna go with our games for this upcoming week, and we're gonna start off with, let's go with the Florida Thirst Traps versus the Dream Killers. Anthony, my man, what you got on this one?
Let me take a quick look, and I think that I'm going to go with the Thirst Traps for a few reasons. I don't think that Chicago defense is really good. I know that Lamar Miller's on a bye, but he has plenty of running back to choose from. I think LeGarrette Blount would be a good option against Washington, especially on a Monday night. You never know how things are going to turn in your favor, so it's always good to have that. I still think Carlos Hyde is still a good running back. He gets the touches. He gets in the end zone. And in Chicago, I mean, I know they're playing Carolina, but I think Kuechly might still be out with concussion. And like I said, if you're going to give a guy the ball 26 times, you're going to expect at least 20 from him, and he's been very productive. I think on the opposite side, I think Bell's going to have a good game. He's putting Russell Wilson back in there. Russell Wilson's kind of shaky. You never know here or there. The Jets are really competitive. They know Miami pretty well. Deshaun Jackson's had a really tough year, and we don't know really what's going on right now with Jameis Winston. He may or may not play this weekend.
Yep.
But from what I'm looking at right now, I would prefer the Thirst Traps. I think that, they had just a bad break last week, losing by that 1 point. I think this is the week they come back, step it up, and become the team that we always wanted to perform. So for this week, give me the thirst traps.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with you. I got the thirst traps on this. I mean, I just think overall they're just a better team. I think Hyde is gonna keep scoring touchdowns. I think Cam Newton's gonna play well. Randall Cobb, I'm not too confident there because Brett Hundley is the quarterback, but I do like Tyreek Hill. I do think Jordan Howard is gonna play well again. He's gonna have to move Lamar Miller, but I mean he could easily plug in a Jerick McKinnon there. Christian Thompson, he's even been balling out as well this season. He could put LeGarrette Blount. He has a ton of options there that he could go with. So yeah, I mean, give me the thirst traps, and I think they're gonna win. They're gonna win this pretty easily, in my opinion. Next up, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna go with let's see here. Yeah, we're gonna go with the McPoon handling Go Engines playing against Dr. Evil. What you got in this one, Amp?
You know what? This week, let's go with Dr. Evil. I think that the McPoon handler has to make some moves. Will Fuller has definitely been a big part of the offense and what's happening this week that he's going to buy. So the kicker needs to go ahead and straighten that out. I don't really see much in the bench that's really going to help him. You know what? Maybe Nelson Aguilar because he has been showing up recently. But I think on the opposite side, Marcus Mariota had a good game when they're playing against Cleveland. I don't see Todd Gurley slowing down. Alshon Jeffrey against Washington without their top cornerback. I think that'd be a really good matchup. Doug Martin's really been showing up these past two games. And again, Evan Ingram, even against Seattle, he still might be a top 3 tight end.
Yep.
They might do a lot of damage on the outside, but I think with his size and his speed, he'll be great over the middle. Matthews out. I know they're playing Cleveland, but may need to move him out because I don't think you want to put Matthews and the Titans defense and Mariota against Cleveland. It may or may not work, but you just want to kind of work things in your favor. Tevin Coleman's a possibility. Michael Crabtree's an absolute possibility. So for this week, let me go with Dr. Evil. They had a good game last week. They were able to pull out the win. I think they're still a tough team. Like I said, smart team, smart GM. We're going to go ahead and see how things go. But for this week, let's roll with Doctor.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you on that one again. I'm going to go with Dr. Evil. Mariota against Cleveland, Gurley against Arizona. While, yes, Arizona's defense is tough, I think Gurley is matchup proof. I like T.Y. Hilton. I think he's going to bounce back. I don't care about the secondary in Jacksonville. I just think T.Y. Hilton will bounce back. He's one of those guys that I think he's also kind of matchup proof. He had a bad game. I don't foresee him having 2 in a row. I don't know which Jeffrey's going to show up, so I'm not even going to go there. Evan Ingram, while the secondary is a strong part for Seattle, the one thing they are susceptible is against the tight end, so I think Evan Ingram is going to get some good play. Doug Martin concerns me a little bit against Buffalo, but he's going to play. I just look at the other side, and Carr against Kansas City. Kansas City just coming off a loss. I don't think they're gonna be too happy about that. I think Freeman's gonna play well. I think Julio will be okay. But I just think overall Dr. Evil is just a better team here, and that's what I'm gonna go with. Give me Dr. Evil. All right, so next up, we're going to go ahead and we're going to go with our game, Anthony. It's going to be the New York Powers versus I'll name this team later. What you got on this one, Ant?
Give me the Powers. I don't think I'm vain enough to say like I'm going to beat them. Nah, I'm going to try to go ahead and be honest. I think Tom Brady against Atlanta defense can do some damage. I mean, Melvin Gordon. Okay. Melvin Gordon has been one of the best running backs in fantasy this year. And it's been a kind of up and down fantasy year period, but he's very good in the run. It's a weird thing. He's not really productive in the run game, but in the red zone, he's become a really big target. Once they get there, they're looking for him, so that's a plus. And seeing that the Giants' offense, which isn't really that great, the way they kind of gashed the Denver defense just running up and down the field on them, I don't expect this to be any different. I mean, and I expect Antonio Brown to keep performing. The guy said he wanted the ball. He's got it. Gronk is Gronk. I think Team him with Brady is always going to be there. That Green Bay team is a good matchup. I don't have any issues with that. I think on the opposite side, I think there's buys and there's injuries. Alex Smith is forced to start because of the injury to Jameis Winston, who may or may not play, but is rather be safe than sorry. Regards to the running backs, but losing out on Hopkins this week really hurts me. Keenan Allen against that Denver secondary. Their cornerbacks are great, but he's good. But like I said, in the red zone, he's option number 3. It's Gordon, it's Henry, then it's him. I mean, he gets him to that point, but after that point, it's basically like this is what's here. Like I said, I'm forced to make some tough matchups and start people that wouldn't generally start, but that's not an excuse for anything else of that. This is the reality of the fact.
That's a fact.
And the reality is that. I mean, it's a fact, and the reality is that the Powers just have a better team. and have a better team and better match this week. That's why I'm absolutely 100% going with the Powers.
I'm actually gonna go with myself as well this week. I just think, like you said, the matchups, are right for the taking. Brady against Atlanta. I'm not a big Melvin Gordon. I think this may be his off week, but it's okay. I like Antonio Brown against Cincy. I like Demaryius Thomas, if healthy, against the Chargers. Gronkowski's gonna play well. Christian McCaffrey all of a sudden has learned how to get touchdowns. So I'm gonna put him back in this lineup again. And then Mark Ingram, hey, listen, Peterson's not there. Mark Ingram is that red zone guy. So, he's going to be, and he's money in the red zone on top of that. And then, probably the best gift of all that I think he's going to hopefully play very well is Matt Bryant. People don't realize how important kicker position is. And as soon as I saw that Anthony dropped him for the bye week, I was trying to get him back for, a while. And that was when I was able to get ahead. Once I saw he had the back injury, I was able to negotiate with Gabe. Like, hey, Gabe, look, your guy has a back injury. I'll give you this kicker who's been playing very well. I just like Matt Bryant. I think Matt Bryant's one of those rare 3 kickers in this league that you just, if you can get, you just plug him in your lineup and you keep him moving. On the other side, Anthony, I think Keenan Allen against Denver, I'm not a big fan of that matchup. Kyle Rudolph against Baltimore. Baltimore's a very good defense. You already know how I feel about Crowell. Sammy Watkins.
Yeah.
Even if Sammy Watkins wasn't going against Patrick Peterson, I still wouldn't like it. But I like it that much less. So, yeah, I'm going to have to go with the Powers in this game. All right. So, we're going to go ahead and we're going to jump to the next one, which is Tampa's Empire going up against Dumpsville. Welcome to Dumpsville. What do you got in this one?
Give me the Empire. Dumpsville, they finally came up and had a decent game last week. I don't think that's going to happen this week. Tampa's biggest weakness is that quarterback severely. I think that's definitely an issue. And I think that maybe he needs to do something about Terrell Pryor. Because the way that his matches are set up is basically he has 2 guys going against Buffalo, 2 guys going against Philadelphia, and all kind of spotted here and there. But Terrell Pryor hasn't been the guy we thought he was going to be. A touchdown a few weeks ago, but it's been in his only one, and everything else he was basically under 10 points. I mean, he's barely cracking 6.7 points. On the opposite side, DeMarco Murray did get that touch, but we discussed before. I don't know if he's the future of this offense. It's more looking more like it's going to be the Travis Henry show. He's going back to the mix, and Jordan Reed hasn't been Jordan Reed as of yet. I mean, Fitzgerald had a great game last week, but the Rams defense, they get after you. So I don't know if Palmer will really have the time to do what he's going to do. And AJ Green, I mean, Cincinnati and Pittsburgh is always a tough matchup. It's not a big-time shootout. I don't see that really happening this week. For the Empire, I do see Fournette running all over Indianapolis if he's healthy. I see Evans and Breed, again, having good games. I think Ajayi, if he can continue what he did last week, I think that would be just enough to put him over the top. So this week, let me have the Empire.
I agree with you again. I mean, we're all the way agreeing. The Empire, I think, are just a better team. Okay, Dak Prescott against San Fran, yeah, you kind of like that matchup. DeMarco Murray against Cleveland, yeah, possibly. But, AJ Green going against Pitt's secondary isn't as bad as it used to be. Since Joe Hayden's been there, they're actually a pretty darn good secondary, actually. But on the other side, I love Leonard Fournette against the Colts. Jordy Nelson, I'm iffy on that because I have to see what this quarterback can do for Green Bay. But I think Mike Evans will play well. I think Ajayi is going to be pretty good. I just think overall, Steve is the better team. With that being said, if there was going to be an upset that happens this week, I think this is the game. Just because if you look at all of Dom's matchups, they're so juicy. Every single one of them, even to the defense, because we all know how Phillip Rivers loves to throw interceptions. Even that's a juicy matchup. So while I am picking the Empire, I will say this is the watch-out game of the week right here, because the matchups are all favoring Dom, but the better team is the Empire. Now we're going to go to the game of the week. Telegram going up against Slap Sauce. What you got in this one?
I have to take Slap Sauce. I do. I think Kareem Hunt is going to have a good game against Oakland. I think that Elliott coming back against San Francisco is a good matchup. I do think Tampa Bay is a good matchup, but I also think that when your defense is on a bye and you lost your quarterback, who's basically the linchpin of your entire team, he's out. Bradford's out. I'm not really certain what's really out there via free agency, but no one's out there that's going to replace what's going to be able to be provided. What Rodgers could do, which is logical, which makes a whole lot of sense. And I just think on the opposite side, you're trying to pick the best matchup, you feel Drew Brees is the best one. Cool, dog, no problem. I think you should go ahead and go for that. Des Bryant hasn't really been Des Bryant, but I mean, you don't really have much of a wide receiver. You're just hoping that he kind of performs, and I think he will. I think he's going to, and he's going with the two tight end option again with Kelsey and Zach Ertz.
Yep.
One Thursday and one's Monday. I don't think that's bad. And Zach Ertz, honestly, I mean, outside of Gronk's explosion last week, he's been a pretty consistent fantasy tight end.
Yeah,
absolutely. So I do like that matchup.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm still not really certain about Tyrell Williams. You're kind of forced to start him because of Emmanuel Sanders. Like I said, if against that Denver secondary, you never know what happens. They're a very difficult matchup. But I think when you have Breeze, I think hopefully, Oakland gets the message and starts feeding Marshawn Lynch the ball a little bit more. I think Ertz is the performer. I think Adrian Peterson has another good weekend. I think that's just something that they really needed. So for this week, all due respect, give me Sean, give me Slap Sauce.
I'm actually gonna go ahead. I'm gonna probably agree with you on this one. I'm gonna go with Slap Sauce just because on the other side, look, he lost his best player in Aaron Rodgers. Ezekiel Elliott hasn't been himself. LaShawn McCoy hasn't been himself. Kareem Hunt's come back down to earth, and his receiving core is just not good enough. It's just not good enough. So I'm gonna go with Slap Sauce just because, not because they're so much better than him, but just because Pop's team right now is hurting. I mean, remember a couple years ago, Pops named his team the MASH unit. That's kind of what is looking like right now out there. It's kind of it's borderlining on that. So I'm gonna go with Slap Sauce. I just think they're the better team as of right now, just because of the injuries to Pops. So give me Slap Sauce. Slap Sauce will then take full control back of first place, and things start getting very interesting. Because then the following week, I believe he plays myself the Powers. Things start getting really, really interesting after this week.
Yeah, but, it's going to get lit. And I think more than anything else, we're realizing that, fantasy is definitely a week-to-week game. And I think for myself, and I think for a lot of teams, there's a lot of things that we need to kind of just swallow the pride and everything to that degree and just make the deals that are necessary and make the trades that we need to make, because we know that, within this league, it's competitive. You want to make sure you keep your keepers, but you also want to make sure you put the best lineup there possible. So sometimes, if you take a short-term loss now to gain one in the future, that's what matters. But I think more than anything else, we're out here, we're competitive, we talk. More than anything else, let's just start talking to each other. Let's try to make some deals. Let's try to get things active. I mean, of course, we want to ask for outlandish things. I mean, you're supposed to, but more than anything else, at the end of the day, with everything going on in people's lives in the world, we're just here to have fun. Just enjoy yourself. You get a little stressed out during Sunday, but, it's just games. But let's go out here, enjoy each other, have some jokes, have some laughs. Let's just make sure we get to it, man. Let's go ahead and just have a good fantasy season.
Make the deals happen. Make the deals happen is the best that I could say. But that's our show. You guys all stay safe. Be safe. We are out. Let's go ahead and wrap it up. As Steve would say, adios. Peace.